My next guest is one of the most prominent Catholic lawmakers in American history. Joining me now is the former Speaker of the House, now Democratic Congresswoman Nancy Pelosi. Thank you so much for being here. I just got to read your lengthy and really heartfelt statement that you and your husband Paul released on the death of Pope Francis. And I just want to say to our viewers, if they don't know, but I'm sure they do, you've always been so open and public and proud about your deep Catholic faith. What are your most important reflections of Pope Francis?
Well, it's so sad. It's heartbreaking for us to see him wish everyone happy Easter yesterday and then go on to heaven. Paul and I and our children have been with His Holiness a sum total of 4 times, sometime with some of the grandchildren, other time others, and then just on a long visit with him where he spoke about immigrants and refugees again and again, something that was very, such a high priority for him. So when he has left us now, I think of all the times that we met him, he would always say, pray for me. Whether it was leaving the Capitol or with my grandchildren, whatever, he would say, pray for me. Excuse me. And we'd be like, well, no, you're the one who should be praying for us. No, pray for me. And now we will pray to him. He was a saintly man, cared about faith, hope, and charity, and peace. He was a blessing to the world and to the Catholic faith. And he, again, saying goodbye and happy Easter and then going on to heaven is just so remarkable.
What does it say about him as the Pope that he would say to you and others, pray for me?
Humility. It's about his humility. But he was a confident Pope. You know, he was a first in so many ways, as you have indicated, first non-European in 1,300 years to be Pope. He talked about climate. He talked about God's creation, whether it was the poorest of the poor as reflected in the Gospel of Matthew, or whether it was God's creation that we had to protect it so much. So important was it to him that he did an encyclical on it, and that's what he spoke about when he came. That's one of the things he spoke about when he came to the Capitol. So you have this man of great confidence, first Jesuit, great confidence, but great humility.
You received communion during a Mass at St. Peter's Basilica in 2022, and that happened despite the fact that the Archbishop of San Francisco said that you couldn't receive communion because of your support for abortion rights. What did it mean for you to receive communion that day during the papal Mass?
Well, it was the Feast of St. Peter and Paul, which in Rome is a holiday. It's a civic holiday, and so all faiths come together in the Vatican in St. Peter's. They placed us in the front row, and in the front row next to us was where His Holiness was seated. But before them, and we had our family, we had staff, we had the security, because it was an official visit that we were on before I went on to a family visit. In any case, before the visit, before the Mass, they asked Paul and me to go outside, sort of the vestibule or something, before you go into the church. And we were standing there, and then His Holiness came in. He was in a wheelchair, far away door. He stood up and walked over to us.
Wow.
And we had a lovely private visit with him, and they took pictures. You're not allowed to bring a camera. They took pictures, which the Vatican released, which was at that sensitive time with my own Archbishop in San Francisco. And then we received communion. I received communion right there in that front row on the Feast of St. Peter and Paul.
He was trying to send a message.
In the presence of the Pope.
He was clearly trying to send a message. I said it seems as though he was trying to send a message. Yeah.
I think that he effectively did. I mean, the message was received by so many people saying, see, it is I do receive communions. They accept in Washington at Holy Trinity Church, where the cardinal then had said we will not use religion, communion as a weapon, and this was probably this. Nothing is done casually by the Vatican. When we went to see him on a Codell, a different visit, they said to me, "You will obey these rules as you go in that are 400 years old." This is how we do it. So it is, again, there's nothing casual about it, but they knew exactly the message that would go out if His Holiness was in a conversation with Paul and me privately on that feast, and then that we would receive communion. Actually, the photo they sent out, I think, had His Holiness the next series of rows over, but in the picture when we're receiving communion. So in any event, this is a person of, I mean, so beautiful, so lovely, so joyous. He would laugh about so many things. And I found it a great privilege to meet with him at least 4 times, sometimes he loved children, as you know, and sometimes with my grandchildren and children, sometimes with my husband, sometimes by myself, or sometimes as part of the leadership in the Capitol. When John Boehner was Speaker and we had the visit of His Holiness to the Capitol, that was the most thrilling occasion of all.
Yeah. Well, I know that your mother wanted you to become a nun, and you decided to go a different direction. But obviously, your Catholic faith does guide you, and I really appreciate you coming on to talk about your memories of this man who you obviously really adored on a personal level. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
May he rest in peace.